Hi, everybody. Jeff here from Daily Dose of Jeff, and welcome to podcast number 5. It is December 14th, 2024. All right, we're on the topic of Luigi Mangione, his parents. We're talking about discipline. We're talking about, was he disciplined? Was he not? Was he spoiled rotten? I personally think he looks like the rich kid, typical story, never got disciplined by his parents, never got punished, got away with everything, handed everything. I could be wrong. I don't know him. I don't know his family, but just look at the results. Okay? You look at the results and you can surmise that this kid always got away with everything. And he, just took it to the next level because he always did when he was younger, got away with everything he did. And now he's like, now I can get away with murder. And unfortunately, parents can't save him this time. But anyway, the point of this podcast is I see your messages out there. So I thought we would do a podcast on parenting and a podcast on child abuse. The subject of child abuse. What is child abuse? Again, there's people out there that are saying if you touch your kids, and they're right, if you touch your kids, it's child abuse. Okay, so I am a parent of 3, and I feel, my belief, and my wife agreed with me, that we don't hit our children. We don't hit our children, especially in this day and age, because, okay, now I grew up 70s, 80s, the father would pull out the belt, the whole thing, but you can't do that anymore. You can't. A CPA will be knocking on your door so fast. Now, in the case of Mangione, let's just say that he never got punished or hit. Well, the topic of this podcast is not so much on him, but the topic of child abuse and what do you do as a parent to discipline your child? Okay, so I do want to talk to the parents out there. Parenting's a big thing with me. This is my channel, my podcast. I'd like to address parenting. Again, this ties into Mangione because I feel like he didn't get the discipline that when you do something wrong, you get a punishment for it, some type of punishment. People, you don't have to hit your kids. You don't have to. There's other ways to discipline, and with my children, you can give them extra chores to do. You can give them timeouts. You can talk to them. You can make them do something, clean something or pick up the yard. We used to keep a chart on the wall, and depending on the level of punishment, we would have a system that, you get so many strikes against you, and then you're going to have to, at one time we had a little hat that you picked out of, and on there was some type of chore. Whether you do the trash for someone or you do the bathroom, take somebody's turn cleaning the bath, whatever it is. But the reason you don't hit your child is because you are in a state of rage, especially if you have younger kids, 2 and 3. The whole point of discipline is to get the child to learn. The child needs to know, okay, I did something wrong, now I have to pay a price. But you can inflict pain, but it doesn't have to be physical pain. Yes, it's easiest. Yes, you can take your hand and you can whack them real hard in the rear end. But the point is, when you're in a fit of rage, how much of that hit is anger and not the point of discipline is to tough love, to hit the child. If you can control it, but it's very hard for a human being to control the strike. And that's why I'm against it. I am. I do not want to hit. I don't want parents out there just as soon as they get angry, whack. Because when you're mad, when you're really furious, they did something, but you just feel like putting your fist through a wall, you're going to take it out on that child. And it goes way beyond instructing or loving discipline. So parents, I personally feel I would love to hear from you. And, we tie this into the Mangione case. because people are out there saying you can't discipline them. There's plenty of ways to discipline them to get the point across. The main thing is to make sure that you take action right away, especially when they're young, especially when they're, 8 months or older. You want to jump all over them. My kids, one of the big things I got on them about was hitting. Anytime they did any form of hitting at all, they immediately got a discipline, whatever we were doing. And no, I never hit my children once. And guess what? To this day, none of my kids hit each other. My kids don't raise their hands. They don't hit. In a fit of rage, they don't hit. And this all stems back to when they were little. When they were little, I got on them. Another thing I got on them was raising their voice to the parent. The second that they raised a voice or said something inappropriate, and even to this day, they know they're immediately going to get disciplined should they raise their voice to me or my wife or get, something nasty or whatever. They know right away. But you got to do this, folks, when the child is young. When a child is young, you can't be one of those parents that just sit back and let it slide. If they've raised their voice or they say no or something like that, you can't. You got to take action every single time. It will pay off. It really will pay off. Now, in the case of Mangione, we can surmise that, okay, he did something bad when he was little, got away with it. Mom, probably cuddled him and all that. And Dad probably, never gave him the message of discipline, the message of you do wrong and you're going to pay a price. That never got through to Mangione. He probably, did whatever he wanted, grew up that way, had everything handed to him. Here you go, honey, money, money, money. We've read that the grandmom left the family a lot of money. I don't know if these stories are true, but they had money. And Mangione, you could see the result. And even when he was getting arrested, just shouting and everything, almost like he's just going to get bailed out of it. He didn't care. He was smiling. He was smiling the day of the murder. All right? That should tell you everything you need to know. He's flirting with a girl at Starbucks, smiles, knowing he's about to blast somebody in cold-blooded murder, and he's smiling and relaxed. It tells you everything you need to know. So the point, I want to hear from you, parents. What I want to hear is, do you hit your children, or did you? Do you still feel that that's the best form of discipline? My stepfather, we grew up with stepfather. He made us turn our hands over, and he would whack it with spoons really hard, wooden spoon. I remember he broke a wooden spoon on my brother's knuckles. Do you feel that is the way to parent? Do you feel a spank on the rear end? I mean, obviously that's the lowest form that maybe I would accept. You give them a spank on the rear end, okay. It shouldn't go any further beyond that. But, and you can really hit a child hard on the rear end when you're really furious. Your rage is built up. You're tired. You're angry. You're frustrated. I mean, you could really lay into your child. And, you're going to put some bruises back there. And what if you miss a little bit? You really can cause some damage, because the child's going to be turning and twisting. I personally don't feel that. I want to get the message across in other ways. Let me tell you quick. My daughter, the one time, as a point of disciplining without hitting, all I used to do was write an X on a piece of paper. And let me tell you, my daughter, when she did something bad, I said, you're getting an X. And let me tell you the impact that had on her. Okay? To this day, she doesn't raise her voice to her parents. She doesn't hit anybody. She doesn't hit her brothers or sister. That because anytime they did anything, but my one daughter, I remember the one time specifically, I wasn't giving X's consistently. I just, at the moment, I just wanted to do a quick discipline. And I just remember writing the next down. And my daughter, Ella, I didn't realize as I turned around to continue doing my dishes, I believe I was doing the dishes, I put the X on the piece of paper because she did something nasty or bad, whatever it was. She did something, and I was angry. So I said, "You're getting an X." And then I turn around, continue. I turn around. Her face is filled with tears. She's staring at that X. I mean, look what I did. She was taught that she did wrong, and an action was taken against her, and she got an X, and that affected her so much. And I remember she never did that thing again. All right? So parents, I want to hear from you. How do you discipline your children? How did you discipline your children? Do you feel hitting is okay? Do you feel it's all right? What kind of hitting? How hard do you hit? Or does anybody out there agree with me that you don't need to physically hit your children to discipline them? And what do you feel happened in the Mangione family? We don't know them personally. We can only guess. What are you guys out there? I'm really curious. All right, thanks for listening to the podcast. I can't wait to hear from you in the comments.